Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144, chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I'm Akila Textry and the divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live from 5D. As usual, bringing you the news to infuse if you so choose to. Infused with this light grid activation. All right, and for those of you who don't know, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm going to say this while I remember it now in the beginning is to like, subscribe. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment if you dare. And just sharing the good vibrations and helping us build the community and getting it out to, what do they call it? Helping the algorithms to help it to get to those who are on the same wavelength. Those of you who are in the same atmosphere, right? In the wind, listening to the wisdom in the wind. Those of us who are transitioning into 5D. Well, I'm already here, but I'm still helping those who are transitioning over from the 3D to the 4D into the fifth dimension of their soul's consciousness. So I'm here for the expansion of the soul. Speaking of the soul, I want to talk about the synapsis of the soul. For those who don't know what a synapsis is, it is almost like if you know what neurons are. The cells, the neurons, it's like there's a synapsis whenever they like connect and they exchange the information from the dendrite. From the dendrites are like the end of the neuron. Look up a neuron, pull it up, you'll see what the dendrite is. And when it connects to the other neuron, it's like it fires off and there's a synapsis, right? And it's the wiring and the firing off that is happening in our cells. The neurons are the nerve cells pretty much, and the connective memory tissue, so to speak. That's what I call it, at least. Some of us have seen pictures of it in different ways. Sometimes there's even pictures of the universe that looks like the firing off of the cells, the way the stars light up and there's connection everywhere. This is from the universe, from a macro to a microscopic level. There's a synapsis going on multiple levels, and I want to specifically focus on the synapsis of the soul, specifically because of the remembering. I've been wanting to talk about the remembering a little bit more. You may have heard me mention it here or there, but the remembering is why we are here. We are here to be a part of the remembering. We come here knowing darn well that we are going to be in the sea of forgetfulness. We are going to forget because we are here in this school of life. And as we are here in this school of life, there are some things that you forget so that you can remember, right? There are some parts of you, the karmic work that has to be worked out. There are so many levels. We're multi-dimensional beings, so many levels of us. And so we're here to be a part of the remembering at a soul level, at an individual soul level, as well as, I want to say, an individual soul in this lifetime. There are multiple synapses that we have all along the way to help us in our holistic soul, for the holistic aspect of our soul, meaning the infinite aspect of our soul's design. There is a synapsis that we are having each time we remember another level, another layer of our soul's unfoldment. That's why we are unfolding souls. Before I forget, before I go any further, I don't want to forget, please forgive me for the last video. I'm still working out the kinks. I may have to get just a whole nother phone, because I noticed this only happens with this phone, where I've had the video and then it just blacks out. I know you guys got the audio and you can hear it, but there's no visual. And thank you for those of you that actually sit through and still listen, because sometimes it's really just about the message. Because sometimes I even wonder if I want to just go and do videos where there's just a screen and some images. Believe me, if I knew how to do technology, I would probably put up screen with different images that I see that some people do, and then I would just give the message sometimes, because for the most part I'm a personable person. I like personal interpersonal relatability, so to speak. I don't like things to be so impersonal. So for me, I don't mind showing up and just doing the video, but sometimes I would like to just do something without visual. So for those of you who have the patience and the discipline to just sit and listen to the message, thank you. Thank you for your comments that you share through that, and you know, we'll go from there. You know, we'll see. I'm just gonna have to get another piece of technology, but you know, my apologies again for that blackout. Although we still have audio. So just tune into the message. Maybe it's spirit saying you just need to listen. Like, I just want you to hear this. Just really, because sometimes when we don't have the visual, then you open your ears a little bit more and now you really just listening to the message, right? So maybe that's what that is for. With that said, let me continue on the soul's synapses. So what is happening in the soul? Many things, multiple things. In the remembering, we are here. We are memory complex. We are soul, what I usually call mind-body complex. And the mind-body complex is a part of the entire memory complex. You are comprised of multiple memories of your soul self. You come here fully loaded with everything in your black box. What is your black box? That is your, what I call the subconscious mind, that houses all the memories, right? All the memories, baby memories in this lifetime, past life memories, all the memories, right? So when we see this, when we open our mind and we understand this aspect, this is why we have to tap in, because all the answers that we need are in the divine design of our soul, in the subconscious mind. So it is just for us to do the work as we're here unfolding. This is why it's really important to do the shadow work, to excavate the soul. The more you're doing your shadow work, the more you are unpacking the junk out of your soul. Then you free up the wiring. It's like electricity, which we are electromagnetic beings. So the energy moves through us, the information, light energy moves through us through these forms of electromagnetic waves, right? Or energy in motion. And there's these connections. So just like the neurons connect, if you study the neurons, you will know that this is how we are. We are the neuron cells on this earth. The earth is a soul self within itself, and we are cells on this soul of an earth. And so we connect just like the neurons. We fire off and we're wired in that way. So the way the energy and the information moves is through our wiring. This is why I say we are conduits of the light energy information. The Ra, the sun, that gives the light energy and information, or comes through, let me not even say gives, on a deeper level, it comes from the galactic center. It comes from Mama Universe, as Sister Myra calls it. I call it the mothership. Right? It comes from the mothership, the center, the galactic center. All information comes through the sun, right? The sun that gives us all that we need, all the information that we need. It is the source through which we get our light energy information that's coming through. And then it lights up in each and every one of us, passes the information that comes through us. We're the conduit, we're the wiring. So imagine this: if you have dark matter issues, if you have unhealed wounds, all of this stuff, you are blocked up, right? There is resistance in your wiring. So this is why it is important right now, especially in these times, to remove the resistance out of the wiring. And how do we do that? Tune in to tune up. We go in and we excavate our soul. We face our uglies. We face the shadows. We go in and we face the shadows that are in the darkness. This is why all this light is coming through, y'all. And how we process it is dependent upon us. Right? Remember, I talked about the CPUs. How we even channel this light. Like I said, it's like the plants. How is your CPU? Your central processing unit. You. How do you process the light energy information is dependent on you. Right? So the melanin that we have, melanin helps us to break down, just like within the plants, the chlorophyll helps to break down the light energy information. Our melanin helps us to break that down, right? And this is why we are the dominant trait or the dominant gene. And this is not a race, like I'm not even talking black, white, like and I've explained this before. I really have to do something separate on melanin. I want to go deeper into that. But for us to understand, it's not just a black white thing, because it just depends on your level of melanin that you have. And while yes, we tend to have more melanin because of the color um, of our pigment, you know, our pigmentation, it's not necessarily that way. How they say, oh, you're darker, so you must have more melanin. It's not necessarily always that way. However, it does help. The melanin is what help processes the light. It helps us to hear better, sense things better, see better, like a little sharper. When I say better, I mean sharper, that much more in tune. The hairs are like the coils in our antennas. I was just watching something on that today. But all of that helps us process it. But also how you are working with your soul. Most importantly, how are you working with your soul? What does that soul do? What does that energy do? Right? So it's not, the melanin does help break it down, but it's also the work that you do, because someone can have all the melanin in the world, but if they're not breaking down their soul work, if they're not excavating their soul, and they have all the tools, they're at an advantage, but they don't utilize it because they're not working on their soul, then they become at a disadvantage. Now you're operating in spiritual, what I call spiritual degradation, you know, and you have all the tools right there with you. You have access to it. You have what you need, but you're not using it. And some people, they may not have the melanin capacity, but yet they do their soul work. So it's a bit of both. It's a little bit of everything. It's complex, multi-complex. So it's what you're doing essentially overall, holistically. Are you tuning in? Most importantly, are you doing your soul work? And also, what are the foods that you're putting into you? All of this helps with how you're processing light energy information. All of this tells what type of CPU do you have? What type of processing do you have? Do you have resistance in your wiring? And that is due to, the resistance is due to how much dark matter you have there, how much unhealed wounds do you have there, how many things that you are neglecting to face. There's something that you specifically came here. There's stuff on your list, on your spiritual blueprint, that your soul is supposed to be specifically unfolding in this lifetime, yet you may be ignoring that. You could be doing all the other good stuff in this world. You could be feeding the homeless, you could be helping out people whenever you see them, you could have the nicest personality, you could be spiritually inclined, you could be so what's the word, intellectual, like so not have all the knowledge, conscious, woke, all of this. You can be all of that, yet the very thing that you came here to work on, if you are not working on that, then you have a certain type of resistance in your processing. Everyone is different, because you have to find out what you have come here to work on. And some people may be saying, well, how do I find that? And what I found myself telling people is that it has to do with how do you find it? Finding the pattern. There you go. Find the pattern that is showing up in your life. The thing that keeps happening is your pattern. There's a pattern that is there and is trying to tell you something. So when you find that pattern, look at that pattern. Don't just complain about the pattern. Oh, this keeps happening to me. I wonder why. It is telling you a story. Pay attention to what is being repeated, what is constant repetition. Like we're in the universal year 8. Universal year of 8. 8 is infinite existence. It's constant repetition. It's repeating over and over and over again what you have manifested. Manifestation is the universal year of 7. 7 is the manifestation, or what I call return to completion, which is the manifestation. Over and over and over again is the repetition. You're seeing what you have manifested over and over again, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it shows your repeating pattern. And once you find that pattern, it basically is showing you what you are challenged with in this lifetime, which means it's what you have come from in the past life to transcend and to overcome, right? Find out what your south node is. Your south node tells you where you're coming from. Your north node tells you where you're going, what you're here in this life, on this trajectory, this forward trajectory to move towards. And your south node is telling you where you're coming from. So even knowing that can help you take a closer look and look at what your south node is saying about you, and look at that with all the things that you have seen repetitively in your life. Your south node is what you're naturally inclined to as well. So you may be comfortable saying, well, I've always done this, and that's fine. But now it's time to remove the crutches, so to speak, and do without that a little bit to see what is my next step. Now I've naturally done this so much. Now it's time to do something else, right? And so I say all that to say, just to give some pointers to kind of, I want to bring it back to the synapses. But this is how we have the synapses, by having this remembering, the remembering of the soul's purpose. Every inch of a remembering. Remember means to reconnect, right? Again, meaning again, and member, connect. Connecting again and again and again. And that is our infinite existence. We come here to remember and connect and connect and reconnect until we get to a certain level. There's a certain amount of synapses that we're having in our soul. So essentially, our soul ascension is a synapsis. Every time you do something where you evolve and you elevate your soul a little bit more, which is generally every time you drop some weight, every time you excavate your soul and drop some of that old stuff. This is why it's important to dig deep. Go and look at those ugly things, because the more you remove that resistance out of your wiring, the more it starts firing. Boom, boom, boom. Electrons, electromagnetic. It's firing. It's making the connections. It is reconnecting. It is remembering. It is rewiring. And therefore, you are having a synapsis of the soul. So each and every time that you remove something, or you level up, or you quantum leap, you time leap, you leap in your timeline, when you push your timeline, you are having a synapsis of the soul on individual levels. And overall, you're here overall in this lifetime to have another synapsis of your soul collectively. I'm talking not just a little here and there in this lifetime, but in the totality of this lifetime. Ultimately, your total remembering is a synapsis that the soul has come here to have, right? So you can evolve in your total's soul unfoldment. You may be an entire soul of what I may call a 3-dimensional soul, and your entire synapsis is to be able to evolve to the 4th dimensional soul, right? I'm not talking about just 3D, 4D in this lifetime. I'm talking about your overall holistic package of your soul. And that is a soul synapsis on the, I want to say on the bigger end, on the bigger picture of it. So all of these things that we're doing in our lives right now, eating better, because the food that you put in your body speaks to your light body. We're going from carbon-based body to crystalline to the light bodies, right? So also paying attention, listening to your body, what not to eat anymore. These informations are also things that we need to know to help us have a synapsis of the soul. There are things that we're transitioning through, things that we're gaining new perspectives on. These are other little notches here and there. Boom, you're firing off a synapsis here, a synapsis there, right? And it's not just about gaining knowledge. It is about acquiring the wisdom from the knowledge, the experience that teaches wisdom. So there's an experience that you're having that is elevating you to the next level. Removing the soot off the soul and coming out of the karmic loop is one of the biggest thrusts that you can have, that elevates you to having that synapsis. So that information that you take, it connects with the neuron. And when it connects, there's either two things that's going to happen. Just like with a neuron, you're either blocking or you're releasing. So when the dendrite connects, it's either going to be a block that doesn't allow that to come in anymore. So look at that as if, let's say there's something that we realize that it no longer serves us. When we have that synapsis, when it connects, it's going to be a block. It's something there that's going to say no more. In this connection, that no longer resonates, right? And so then there may be, on the other hand, when it's a release, when it connects, there's a release where it's able to release this new information into the other neuron. In the synapses, the release is allowing the new information to be released, to connect, and then you're having a synapsis. That's how you rewire. So there's two things happening while we're rewiring. There's a block that's blocking old concepts, old thoughts and feelings that no longer serve us, right? That is a part of those blocks. Help us to remove the resistance, because as long as you still accept the old ways, there's going to be resistance into the new ways. As we unfold into the new ways, there's going to be that resistance. So we have to be able to have the blocks towards the right things, right? Have the blocks towards the things that no longer serve you. Like, we can't keep playing around in this time and age in the atmospheric body where it's in the wind, it's in the airwaves, and we catching it, whoop whoop, and making the connections and taking it. You're either opening or closing. You're either blocking or you're open enough to release this, allow the release of this new information and have a synapsis and evolve and have a soul ascension. Your soul synapsis is your soul ascension. So that's just that little tidbit there. I may do a part 2. I may go a little bit deeper into it, but I wanted to at least touch base on the remembering in lieu of this day that we just had, day before, which was the Memorial Day. And remember, I don't do holidays and things like that, so for me it's the remembering, you know. And I realized today, oh, the remembering day was yesterday. I keep forgetting. And then I heard myself say it. It was like, look at that. Or I was being laughed at, actually, like, you keep forgetting. That's the problem that we're having here, aren't we? A lot of us are in the sea of forgetfulness, and we keep forgetting. And when we forget, we push ourselves away from the remembering, right? Forgetfulness is the cause of all sin, which is just a misstep and a mistake. But forgetfulness is the cause of it. We won't, if we don't forget, if we constantly are in the remembering and having the synapsis of the remembering, then we tend to not fall into sin, which is the mistake or the misstep. We'll constantly be evolving, ever evolving, and being intentional in our soul's ascension and in our soul's synapses. So neurons that we are, get it together, get your dendrites, you know, lined up accordingly, and let's let the wiring be firing for the right ways and the right cause for our upward and onward soul's evolution, spiraling upward and onward and leaping into the next timeline of our soul's design, right? So get your synapses on. I'm here for it. So with that said, I'm gonna remind you again, please like, subscribe, and share. Comment if you dare, and let's get these algorithms, you know, to the right people, so that our soul tribe, those who are like sojourners of truth like us, can get this information. Love you all. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out, and be the candle that lights the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Peace, love, and light.